Once upon a time, in a seemingly normal part of the woods on the outskirts of town, there was a house, although not the kind you would think of. It was an old house, and I mean old. The adults tell their kids it was owned by a millionaire who left it behind to grow old, but really, it has a story no one talks about. They say that millionaire met an unfortunate end, and on stormy nights around midnight, you can see lights flickering in the windows, almost like they're sending a message: stay away. Hello, everybody. My name is KashMuney, and welcome to my storytelling in your Minecraft builds video. In this video, I'm going to show you why you should use storytelling in your builds and how you can do it. Without further ado, let's get started. So, what does it mean to use storytelling in your Minecraft builds? Hopefully the intro gave a bit of an idea, but really it boils down to creating a narrative or a story that guides your building process to make your final build feel more personal, more meaningful, and more detailed. That way you get a build that looks more alive and realistic. I like to think of it as adding shadows and highlights to a 2D painting to make it look 3D. You're not completely changing the building process, you're just adding some things here and there to make your final build look more realistic. So let's go back to the haunted house as an example. I could have chosen to go for your classic haunted house design, like a lot of gray and brown, very worn down, and I don't know, maybe a ghost in the window. But I wanted to create a story and make this feel more realistic. The narrative I wanted to use for this build was an older style house that's fallen into disrepair and may or may not be haunted with some weird supernatural things going on at night. I decided to choose the Victorian architecture style and create a Victorian house and then edit it to make it look worn down and really old like we have here. And then it was just a matter of adding some supernatural elements and we got a haunted house. But anyway, let's talk about how you create your narrative and how you can apply your narrative to your builds. So how do you create a story? Well, there's a lot of ways you can go about this. You can come up with your story before you start building, and that way it guides the entire design process, designing the structure, choosing the colors, adding the fun details. It really shapes your entire build. You can also create your story as you're building. Take this lighthouse behind me, I'll start building the structure of it. As I'm building it, I kind of pick up like what I want it to look like, some of the details I have in mind, and I let that shape my idea of a story. And if you even want to, you can come up with your story after your build is made. Say you just want to do like a rough draft of your build, it's the general shape, general structure you want, and then you take a look at it and you're like, what can I do with this? How can I make this more personal? And then start editing it, adding details, taking away stuff, really just making it fit that story and making it feel more alive. All these are great approaches and you can use whichever one you choose. And I recommend experimenting with it. And then you have to figure out how detailed you want your story to be. I don't like to go too detailed. If you want to get super detailed with your stories, go for it. That is absolutely amazing. It's awesome coming up with a crazy story and making it come to life with your build. But no worries if not. It's definitely a lot to ask when you're just trying to have fun with Minecraft. Next up, how do you apply your story to your build? There are two main ways to do this: applying your story to the overall look and applying it to the details. First, you're going to implement your story into your build by choosing the types of blocks for it. So if you want an older build looking like this lighthouse, you're going to add some sort of gradient that, goes from darker blocks to lighter blocks, showing some sort of wear, maybe adding like a missing section of the lighthouse that shows where waves or something has crashed into it and damaged it. You can also do this with the background, like this rock right here is very old and worn down and definitely adds to this aesthetic. So yeah, focus on the types of blocks you use, the structural details you add to your overall build, and the background environment. The small details is where it gets fun. This is where you can really take your story and really make it blossom in your build. It's also where you can add a lot of side stories or special details that make your build feel more personal. It can definitely be hard to add small details and extra elements to your build, so something I like to do is just go to a creative world, go to your inventory, search items, and then just scroll through looking for blocks that are interesting. I like to scroll down to some of these like plant blocks a lot of times, some of these like weird utility blocks. Just scroll through and look for things that inspire you. Otherwise, you can use your story and ask, how can you make it come to life? So right here I have two wagons. As you can see, we have a wagon and a wagon who is owned by a young, enthusiastic traveler who likes to explore the world. Looking at this first wagon, it's pretty simple. We don't really have a story. I just created this wagon, and if we go inside, we just see, like, the basic bed, the crafting table, furnace, chests. This feels pretty boring, and if you saw this build, you think it looks cool on the outside, but it lacks the sort of life that you want your build to have. For this other wagon, we can take the young, enthusiastic traveler part, maybe say that they like adding a lot of color, and so they added some of these like cyan elements to their wagon to make it pop a bit more. Maybe they like collecting souvenirs from the places they visit, just as reminders. We can add details that really go with that narrative, and we can see them in this wagon. Something I tried to do was make it look like this person collects items from different cultures, so it really looks like they've traveled the world. So we have these like bamboo chairs, we have like redstone, paintings they might have collected, some pots, just a collection of random items showing where this person's gone and really add to this story that they're a young, enthusiastic traveler. And just to give a few tips, don't try and force a story, just let it come to you, and if it doesn't come till the end of build, that's perfectly fine. Another is don't be afraid to try new things. I mean, just experiment. You're trying out these stories and you want to create the one that fits best. It's perfectly normal to work on a story for a little while, realize you don't like it, and then have to take away some aspects of the build or redo parts of it, and that's completely fine. And then finally, if you are looking for inspiration, just look online, do a quick Google search, and you can find a lot of stuff. When I was making the Victorian haunted house, I looked up what Victorian houses look like and built my house based on some of those inspirations. But anyways, everyone, that is going to be all. I hope you learned a thing or two about using storytelling in your Minecraft builds. Let me know down in the comments what you do with it if you choose to use this strategy. It has served me super well in creating interesting and fun builds, and I hope you can use it too. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm still a new channel, so any bit really helps me grow. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day!